Welcome to the End Zone. I'm Rob.
And I'm Ray. And this week we're back together again, which feels nice. It's not as sunny as it's been, but I personally love the cool weather. So it feels good out here for me. And, we got our couple drinks here. And today we're going to kind of switch it up and go a bit off script here. So we're not going to be so formal. It's going to be a little more casual, just kind of hit some quick hits around the league and, just talking about our journey so far and what we have in terms of takeaways. So first, I guess, though, we got to address the elephant in the room. We had our matchup last week. How did that go for you?
It was not good. My quarterback play was good. My defensive play was good. Everything else was pretty average or subpar. But I went with, Mason started my week off on Thursday and he got dinged up. Started running the ball well in that first half against Seattle.
He was looking good.
He got dinged up with the shoulder, and then he came in for one carry in the second half and said, no mas. So that was pretty much the end of my week because I went with, Darnell Mooney in the flex. That didn't really pan out as good.
Yeah.
My tight end, I picked up Otten. He actually got a touchdown, which was nice. Baker Mayfield balled out.
Gosh.
Jamar
QB1 this year.
Yeah, Jamar Chase was a little lackluster after that 40-point performance. Reed did his thing, double digits, but that was pretty much it. And my kicker didn't do a whole lot. And then I went with James Conner because he's been my guy. And so it's kind of thinking Najee Harris. I had him on the bench thinking, okay, well, it's Raiders, but then Max Crosby, but I know there's no Wilkins. So I was like, I didn't really trust Najee at the moment.
Yeah.
Of course, he ran well. And then I had picked up Austin Eckler earlier in the week, kind of stashed him. So that was another guy I probably could have used on my flex spot.
Mm-hmm.
But, James Conner has been my guy, so it's been kind of hard to move away from him.
Right.
So now I'm kind of got a little dilemma on my hands and see what I'm going to do this week.
Yeah, and with Conner too, Green Bay was kind of soft against the run all year, so it was a little bit of a surprise not seeing him perform a little better. But our matchup total, yeah, go ahead.
I would say, how about your pickups? You want to talk about your pickups that were very nice?
I was in scramble mode pretty much all week. Justin Jefferson was on a bye. Malik Neighbors ended up being rolled out again. I was pretty surprised on that one. Jonathan Taylor, with the ankle, was out. Devon Achane on a bye. So I'm like, dude, my whole team's just pretty much not playing this week. I got to make some adjustments. So this is my lineup I rolled with. I originally had Justin Fields in, but then last minute switched Jane Daniels. Like I was mentioning in our previous episode, I was pretty much coin flip of quarterback. Quarterback I was cool with. I was like, I think these guys are going to be okay. But I went with Jane Daniels. He did good. And I picked up Tank Dell because Nico Collins obviously out on the IR. So I was like, well, CJ Stroud liked him last year. Might as well roll the dice. Had to go with George Pickens in my wide receiver 2 spot. He did okay. Had some couple of big plays. There was a touchdown he dropped. So he could have had a better day, but decent. J.K. Dobbins, thankfully was off his bye week from last week and was fresh to go. I had a feeling he's going to do good against Denver, so he did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I picked up Antonio Gibson. I was expecting bigger things out of him. Not the best week for him, but 5.8 points wasn't the worst in the world. Theo Johnson for the Giants, 4.5, decent for a tight end. Can't really complain. The best pickup I did by far was Tyrone Tracy, though, who just once I saw Singletary wasn't going to play Saturday, I swooped him up immediately, and the guy went for 19.7 in our half PPR league. So I was like, and we were together watching the game that night, and he was just having a solid game. So I was like, thank gosh, man. And then Austin Cyber had 15 for me out of the kicker spot. He's just a beast. And Pittsburgh D, 21.5. So doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up winning the matchup 130.66 to 107.82. So, it was a bit of a down week for you. But, Baker Mayfield looked great. I think there's better things ahead for sure for your team. Obviously with Najee Harris, I kind of get it. He's been inconsistent all year. But, man, that Raiders defense is not good against the run, especially without Wilkins. So maybe they're probably like whoever running back is, needed for streamer. Obviously they're playing the Rams this week, so someone's gonna have Kyron Williams. But in the future, man, they might be the team to kind of stream against if you need a running back. So
yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Also, a shout out to our big scorer of the week, Sin City Raiders.
Yeah.
So this was a pretty interesting. He was up 151 and he was up by 6 to 145. And so the guy that he was playing, Gila Monsters, had Tyler Bass going last night. And in our
Man.
league, if you miss a PAT as a kicker, it's -1. And so Bass kicks the first PAT, makes it. Second PAT, he misses. So then
Mm-hmm.
the Bills score another touchdown. They go for two. And then Bass kicks like a 30-something yard field goal to basically put them ahead on Monday Night Football. And there you go. So 4 points. So it's kind of interesting to see the two top scorers kind of duking it out. And Sin
Yeah.
City was sweating towards the end, but now he's
Man.
a big Tyler Bass fan. And sadly, Bass got cut by Gila Monsters this morning. So,
Yeah, that was man, that was a high scoring matchup. It was literally 151.54 to 149.54. So he won by literally 2 points. So
mm-hmm,
his team, he had CJ Stroud, Stephon Diggs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Alvin Kamara, Alexander Madison, who's actually a pretty solid play, surprisingly, against that tough Steelers defense. Mark Andrews, who picked it up, Bucky Irving. I mean, Rashad White
mm-hmm,
was out, so it was just feasting for him.
mm-hmm.
Younghoe Koo and Tampa Bay defense. So congrats to you, my man, looking sharp this past week. And Gila Monsters, I mean, I guess we could shout out his team. He was the second highest
Yeah,
scorer. Jalen Hurts, Debo Samuel, who caught that bomb, AJ Brown, who is just an absolute beast. Josh Jacobs, Jameer Gibbs, George Kittle, Zay Flowers, Tyler Bass, and San Francisco defense. So
yeah,
that kicker defense range for him kind of screwed him, but dude, his
yeah,
team his team looked good too.
yeah,
But yeah, man, let's man, there's so much going around the NFL too.
yeah.
I guess we got to address, the big trades happening. Devontae Adams to the Jets, so it ended up happening. It looked like he was going to stay with Vegas for a bit, and then they made something happen. So
I wonder,
it's crazy.
I kind of curious, because they were kind of touting the Jets with pairing him up with Rodgers again. And I'm kind of wondering if Derek Carr didn't get hurt, if things would have been different.
Dude, yeah,
I mean, I
maybe.
know we're just kind of playing the guessing game because, now we know what's really happening, but I wonder if Derek Carr stays healthy if he's a New Orleans Saint because
Yeah,
that was his college teammate and, they were boys when,
he left
Oakland.
Rodgers to go to him
Right,
originally.
right. So it's kind of interesting, how that panned out. But I think we all kind of saw it was either gonna be Rodgers or Carr,
Yeah,
and maybe the Chiefs at that time. But yeah, I think man, it's gonna be interesting to see how things pan out with the Jets now.
yeah. What's your takeaway on it? What do you think it's going to do for them?
You know, I think it's I think it's gonna help. Um, I think Wilson's gonna, he had a good night.
Yeah,
He's kind of stepping up again. He kind of got off to a slow start in the season. I think it's going to help open things up.
yeah.
I mean, because now you're
Who are
gonna
you going
have
to
to
guard?
probably double both of those
Yep.
guys. Then Lazard,
He's looking,
good possession receiver.
man. He's looking really good for at least fantasy.
Yeah,
He's looking like a good little pickup.
and I think it might open up the running game because
Yeah,
they
Brees
haven't been
Hall.
able to run the ball very well. So I'm thinking that might
Brees
actually help.
Brees Hall kind of took that step against the Bills. So
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a good move. And then Salah got fired.
yeah,
Ulbrich steps in. He was a lifelong 49er as a linebacker for his 10 years, 12 years of his career. And then, now he's going to be the guy. So we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, I think, I don't know. As much as I don't like the Jets, I think that makes them, pretty serious contenders now for the AFC East.
I think me personally, it's empty. The reason why is I'm telling you, man, the Jets have a stigma to them. They have not been able to win these games where it's like they lost to the Broncos. They lost this game to the Bills where the Bills weren't even really at their best. Like I don't know. I mean, Garrett Wilson, it's gonna open him up tremendously. One thing that's a question mark still for me, I mean, the defense only gave up 20, but are they gonna be the same without Saleh? Like Saleh's a good defensive coach and he has to have all the credit for how good that defense was. I mean, Ulbrich, yeah, he's a coordinator by
Yeah.
technicality, but we saw what Saleh did with the Niners. So it's like, how is he gonna keep this defense consistent? And so you had Ray Davis run all over you. That run game is still their weakness. And then if you play a higher powered passing offense, I mean, realistically, the Bills they don't have a true number one receiver. So it's like when you played some
Yeah.
some top tier passing talents, are you going to be able to hold it up? Now the Bills get Amari Cooper, which we're going to get into next. But I don't
Well,
know, man. I just don't see it. I think it's too late. If they maybe did it earlier in the year,
yeah.
because now, like, you take Adams. I mean, he's kind of familiar with Hackett in the playbook. Rogers, him have the chemistry, but I don't know. He's older too, and we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. But I think it does boost the stock of Brees Hall for sure. And
Hmm.
then Garrett Wilson, like, he's going to get open on bigger plays
Hmm.
downfield, because the emphasis for defenses was, okay, let's make sure we keep this guy, in the shorter routes. Let's
Yeah.
not let him beat us deep. And now you got Adams, and it's like you're going to have to pick your poison there. And then I think a really sneaky guy though is going to be Alan Lazard still.
Hmm.
I think he's still going to get those red zone looks and those, big third down conversion looks
Hmm.
because they're going to be covered on Wilson and Adams, and then you're going to have Lazard open. So
Yeah.
I think for fantasy, it might potentially. I don't know if Lazard's going to have a high ceiling, but he could maybe be a little consistent for a team.
No, yeah, I think so. And then yeah, Mari Cooper going to the Bills. I mean, they need wide receiver help,
That was a huge move for
and
them.
that's a big move. He's been unhappy in Cleveland, and I think there's been a lot of that this year. The receivers, a lot of unhappy
Yeah,
receivers in a lot of situations, and
yeah.
so I think him getting that fresh start. He was beast with the Browns. He was a beast with the Raiders. He was beast with the Cowboys,
Now you go to Josh Allen, dude.
and now he's going to go to Josh Allen, who's a dual threat quarterback. That I mean,
Yeah. If I was anybody, if you could trade for Amari Cooper in fantasy, I would immediately do it. Like, seriously. I mean, he's just going to go bonkers with the Bills.
yeah, I think
Like,
so too.
Khalil Shakir looked really good. Amari Cooper's better than Khalil Shakir. Like, and he's arguably up there with like Stephon Diggs' talent. I think Stephon Diggs was a little better, but you got Amari Cooper coming in. He's still relatively young. He's quick.
Hmm.
He's a good route runner. Josh Allen's quick with the ball, strong arm. So,
Hmm.
man, I think that was a really good pairing for sure.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting to see how he picks up the offense right away and what he does this next week.
Yeah. One thing
So
about the Bills, though, they have such a simple offense. They don't really run crazy motions. Like, they have play action passes where it's going to be a crosser. They have option routes, which, I think Josh Allen's going to develop chemistry with him right away because he likes route runners. We
yeah.
saw it with Stephon Diggs. So I think, Amari Cooper, like, it was an A-plus trade for the Bills, in my opinion, dude. Like, that's crazy how they got him.
Well, and I think too, what also some receivers they tend to run their route, they kind of stop and they kind of just drift, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some the things that make like Devonte Adams, Mari Cooper special is when they improvise. So if something's not there, they can actually find a crease or find that
Yeah.
opening and exploit it, and then give their quarterback a good look. They're
Yep.
also good at getting contested balls. But the thing that Rodgers likes to do, he likes to do that back shoulders throw, right? So he
Mm-hmm.
likes the receivers to stop, kind of do that little 180 and grab the ball in the back shoulder away from the defender. I think there's been a lot of struggle with the receivers and that kind of technique in New York. So I think that's going to really help too. I mean, Lazard, he understands that, but I don't think Wilson, maybe Conklin to a certain degree, and what other receivers they have, I don't think they really quite understand that
Yeah.
concept. And
Yeah.
so another biggest pet peeve I've had this year with receivers is catching the ball with their body.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's been going on for
It's been going on for a while, but it
a
seems like it's
while.
amplified this year. How many drops have there been, even touchdowns with guys bouncing off their chest, not catching with their hands?
I mean, you see guys like the best of the best, Larry Fitzgerald, Megatron, Randy
Mm-hmm.
Moss, like they catch it with a radius,
Mm-hmm.
outside of their body. That's what made him so good. So yeah, when you have those guys that just try to possession it, I mean, sometimes it's like you hits the chest and you get hit right away. You can't really hold on to it, because of the impact. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Well,
mean that's definitely
I was
that's one
up for
thing.
the 6:30 game in London. The Bears and the Jaguars, and Gabe Davis. I mean, hit him right in the
Oh, I
chest.
saw that one too. Yeah,
All he could do is catch the
dude, he
damn
could have
ball.
had a huge fantasy
You
day.
could have.
You think he dropped like two big plays?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like he caught a touchdown, but
Yeah.
he could have had a bigger day.
Yeah. That game was pretty. It was pretty interesting. Like the Bears, Caleb had a great showing.
Yeah,
So, and the good thing about him, I think Kurt Warner talked about it on the telecast was, watching his eyes,
yeah,
looking through his progressions. The thing that I like to see was his feet were moving. He
yes.
wasn't just
His
flat
footwork's
footed.
looking a lot better.
He
That was
wasn't,
one thing we were talking about
yeah,
was his footwork, but See, a quarterback, like, you got talent, but if you can't correct the mistakes, then it's like you're not going to make it. So, yeah, like him correcting the footwork is huge.
Yeah, it was nice to see. I mean, the Jaguars, they're
Soft, yeah.
pretty soft, but it was nice to see him have the success that he had. And Keenan Allen, he kind of emerged this past weekend,
Yeah.
and man, he had 2 touchdowns. And then another guy that I was kind of flirting with picking up, which I probably wish I did, was Cole Kmet.
Yeah, he did
So,
good.
yeah, so that the one of the play designs they had on his first touchdown is
He was wide
they
open.
faked the bubble screen to the left,
Yep.
then faked the screen to the right, and then he was wide open.
Dude, he was wide open.
And so yeah, he caught the pass, and then broke a tackle, and then dove for the end zone, made it
Yeah.
in.
The
You
two
know,
Cole Kmet touchdowns were pretty easy, but the Keenan Allen throws that he did,
yeah,
Caleb Williams, they were real nice.
yeah,
They were good touch, good accuracy on it. I'm curious though, like it's a soft matchup against Jacksonville. I mean, he gets the bye. He's gonna come out against Washington, so that should be pretty high scoring with him and Jane Daniels. Um, and then you get Arizona, who's kind of softer, and then after that,
mm-hmm,
it's gonna be interesting to see like how he handles tougher defenses. Like he's got New England, Green Bay is good against the pass.
mm-hmm,
Minnesota, Brian Flores loves to blitz young quarterbacks. But one thing that Caleb Williams has been doing well is he's been getting the ball out quicker.
mm-hmm,
If he can maintain that, he should be okay. But it's just, sometimes like you get guys, they go off for a little stretch, like kind of like how Sam Darnold, and then you hit a wall once you verse a top tier defense. So it kind of shows like, where they're really at as a quarterback, in my
right,
opinion. So it'll be interesting to see like how he handles
yeah,
those tougher matchups down the line. But I think for now, like if you have Caleb Williams on your roster for the next couple of weeks, you're chilling, as a starting quarterback for your team.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think a couple more notables too were the that Washington and Baltimore game. That I mean, I think that's got to
that
be the
was a
game
good
of the week.
game.
That was a good game.
Man,
And I know Daniels came up short, but he showed a lot of grit in that
God,
matchup and some great plays. And the
and
Baltimore.
he didn't even do it with his legs.
No,
It was all with the arm.
having Derrick Henry, Baltimore. I don't know. Like, it's amazing they lost any games this season because
Yeah,
they
it's
just
so
look
tough.
like a juggernaut right now. And then Zay Flowers, Bateman, had a decent game. Zay Flowers had a great first half. I don't think he got a catch in the second half, but
Yep.
he went for 9 catches, 132 yards in the first half. I mean, that's a great overall game for anybody.
It seems like too they're starting to get Mark Andrews involved again, so he's
Yeah.
kind of picking up his role that everybody expected right out the gate, and then it was like maybe he was a long term solution for a team, like for your fantasy roster. It's kind of surprising to see because he was looking so bad and they weren't really using him, but now I think he's kind of getting back
Yeah.
into his groove. So that's another dynamic. You got to cover the tight end. You got Zay Flowers, who's a big play guy, and then you got Derrick Henry, who's just going to gash the hell out of you with Lamar, and sometimes they're going to do read options. Who do you go for?
Right.
Do you want to stop Lamar, who's quicker, or do you want to stop Henry, who's the power guy? It's kind of like pick your poison with this offense right now, and they got a good O line. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that team's looking tough.
Yeah. That was good. And I feel like my wife was kind of contemplating dropping Terry McLaurin. I'm like, don't drop him. Like, I know you're not playing him this week, but don't drop him
Yeah,
because he had himself a good game.
man, Terry McLaurin's so good.
But
If
yeah,
she would have dropped him, I would have swooped him up
right.
right away.
I was like, I'll trade you for him.
Yeah, no, seriously, man,
So,
I would have swooped him.
but yeah, so that was a good one. And then another game, that I felt was pretty good was the Green Bay, man. Like Jordan Love,
Jordan Love's so damn good, man.
man.
I was telling my dad, I was like, Brian Flores wanted to draft either Justin Herbert or Jordan Love, and man, I liked Jordan Love coming out of college, so
Yeah,
I was like, don't get me wrong, I like Tua, he's a good guy. Obviously the injuries are happening, unfortunately, and we're suffering, but if we could add Herbert or Jordan Love, man, I think our offense would have been a whole nother level for sure.
I agree.
So,
Well, and he, Dobbs came back. He was suspended last week. He caught 2 touchdowns. The
yeah,
first one was awesome, pretty awesome,
yeah,
and then the second one was kind of like Love rolling out to his right, just kind of like threw it up.
yeah,
He happened to the defender like overplayed it. He happened to catch it and be able to get it into the inside the pylon for that second touchdown.
yeah. I
But
think everyone was kind of expecting that out of Dontavian Wicks, not Romeo Dobbs, but it was good
yeah,
to see him kind of. After the suspension, seems like they kind of cleared the air.
Yeah, so now it's like, embarrassment of riches at quarterback in Green Bay. Could
Mm.
Willis be available?
Taking Miami,
Yeah, definitely taking Miami.
man. Another guy I'll take is Justin Fields. What the heck is what's going on over there, man? Guy's 4-2, and they're gonna bench him potentially for Russell Wilson. I don't know if it's because of the tough defense of the Jets or what, but that was a shocker.
He's playing winning football. I know it hasn't been glamorous, like,
Yeah,
250, 280 yards passing, 4 touchdowns,
sure.
50 yards rushing, but it's like he's been a great decision maker,
Yes.
and that's what you want,
You
and
want you want the guy to grow in the game, and that's what he's doing. And it's like I don't know if it's a bluff. I don't know if they're just trying to throw off the Jets and play whatever game, or if they're really going with
mm-hmm,
Wilson. But it's like Justin Fields has shown tremendous growth as a quarterback. Not necessarily a crazy quick passer, processing at elite speed, but one thing he's doing is he's going through his progressions. He's finding the weak spots of defenses, and he's not turning the ball over. Like I know he had the fumbles, whatever, right? But the balls are not getting turned over. It's like, and technically, I mean, they could have realistically been at the least 5-1, 6-0. Honestly,
mm-hmm,
the defense could have held the Cowboys on fourth down. You could blame that game on Fields, but he threw 2 touchdowns.
right,
That's what you want out of a quarterback. That's if you average that out of a 17 game span, that's 34 touchdown passes. I
yeah,
mean, 2 touchdowns is solid. And then the Colts game, I mean, he put the team on his back, almost came back. The defense kind of let up a lot of scores, so it's like I don't get it personally if they sit him.
yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm wondering if the longevity of Russell Wilson, and what they signed him for, maybe that's the deciding factor. I don't know,
Yeah, it's pretty much of a
but
head scratcher, but
yeah, it's kind of, and I don't know if that's coming from the top or Mike Tomlin, but yeah, it's kind of interesting that they're playing winning football and going to stray away from what's gotten them to that point.
one thing too is Arthur Smith. Like he's not this glamorous offensive coordinator. Justin Fields in this offense, like he's been playing the best a quarterback probably could play, like unless you have like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because Arthur Smith's not like a quarterback coach. He's more of like we saw it in Tennessee. He likes the play action game. I mean, Russell Wilson's a good play action guy, but they don't have really elite deep threats on that roster. So
Mm-hmm.
naturally, what Arthur Smith likes to do is he likes a mobile quarterback. So it's like you got one of the elite mobile quarterbacks in the game. Like, why would you? I don't get it. Like Russell Wilson's past that elite mobile quarterback level. He's kind of a downgrade in my opinion. I mean, you get the veteran experience, but if a guy's winning you ball games and not turning the ball over, I mean, what more do you want?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know.
I just yeah, I mean, it's like
It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and I mean, we're not in the war room with them, so I'm not sure what the thought process is, but yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I think it's going to kill their season personally, but we'll see how it turns out. But one quarterback that looks like he's on the upcoming is Drake May. He looked good.
Yeah, he did.
He looked good against the Texans. I mean, that's a tough defense and threw 3 touchdowns. So
Mm-hmm.
made the most out of his receivers. Demario Douglas looked like an absolute beast. That's kind of a guy that if you need receiver help, pick him up because they're playing Jacksonville next week.
Yeah, yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see like the Drake May era with the Patriots. So
I think New England. I think we're seeing the new era. I mean, they tried with Mac Jones, didn't work out too much. Jacoby Brissett was, eh.
yeah,
So I think we see the Drake May era starting. So we'll see what happens long term.
yeah, it would be interesting to see. We're going into the next week, man. How you feeling fantasy wise?
I'm a little worried. I'm not completely panicking, but with Mason, I don't know how. Man, I'm not confident he's going to play. He was redshirted in practice yesterday, so he had the non-contact jersey on, and so I don't know. I don't know how good that shoulder is going to be. So I'm a little
Yeah,
worried. McCaffrey, if he comes back at all this season, it's probably going to be after the bye, but I don't know. So now it's like my running backs are pretty weak, and so I'm kind of worried a little bit about that. I mean, I'm going to kind of stick to what I got. I think I'm going to play Austin Eckler this week. I don't know James Conner. You know, I, I'm dedicated to him. They play the Chargers, who's had a pretty tough run defense. You know, Eckler's got Carolina, so he's definitely my flex, but he might move to my running back. And then Pittsburgh, you know, Najee's playing the Jets, so I don't know. I don't know how confident I am, especially with Russell Wilson and the shakeup over there, how things are going to pan out.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
So, and then I'm playing your fiance, so and our producer Gabby. So shout out to Gabby. So yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But right now she's got the edge on me, so we'll see.
Yeah,
How about you? How you feeling?
I actually feel really good. I mean, I get as long as my team is freaking healthy for once, and if we're a squad for once, man, because I got Jane Daniels, Justin Jefferson off the bye, Malik Neighbors, if hopefully he's healthy. I mean, the guy's a beast. Hopefully Jonathan Taylor's healthy. J.K. Dobbins against the Cardinals. I picked
Mm-hmm.
up David Njoku, so I think without Amari Cooper there, that's kind of going to open up some targets for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny too because I picked him up in the morning this morning, and then in the afternoon, that's when they traded away Cooper. So I was like, cool, that's going to help him out. Right now, I got Tank Dell in the flex against Green Bay, so I think it's going to be a pass-heavy game
Mm-hmm.
between Love and Stroud. So I got Tank Dell there, but I'm also messing with the idea of Achan. I just with that Dolphins offense without Tua, it's kind of hard to trust anybody, honestly. So I'm like, I don't know if I roll the dice with him. I got Tyrone Tracy still. If he ends up being the starter, it could be a good flex guy too.
Mm-hmm.
And then kicker defenses are solid. I'm gonna roll with New Orleans this week against Denver Thursday night.
Nice.
Cybert or Chris Boswell's a coin flip for me too for kicker. But I feel good. I'm playing Gila Monsters, who's fresh off a hot week, but ended up losing. So hopefully I could add insult to injury a bit there.
Yeah, that'll be good. Well, good luck.
Yeah, so it'll be an interesting week. But hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Instagram, and check out our TikTok when I start posting some decent content. I keep saying it, but I got to get it up. And if you guys ever want to see anything, feel free to comment, or if you ever have any input about anything or any topics you want us to cover, feel free to let us know.
Yep.
So,
As always, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.
alrighty,
See you soon.
see you guys.
Bye bye.